Parliament concluded today. Put simply, it was a criminal waste of public money. Both houses had convened for the second leg of the budget session on March 13th. At that point, around 35 bills were pending in both houses, 26 in the Rajya Sabha and 9 in the Lok Sabha. Almost 20 days later, there has been virtually no progress. Not a single important legislation has been passed by either houses. Yes, the finance bill was cleared, but it was done without any discussion. Just think about it, how absurd that is. We are talking about a massive bill worth lakhs of crores of rupees. It decides how much taxes we pay, how much money each government scheme gets. It is probably the most important piece of financial legislation. Yet, it was passed with zero discussion and within minutes. And that's been the story since both houses reconvened. A lot of protests, but zero work. The opposition kicked off the disruptions over the Adani-Hindenburg report. They demanded a JPC into the issue. But the speaker wouldn't even let them speak. Then came Rahul Gandhi's London trip. Just the opportunity that the BJP was waiting for. He said that India's democracy was in danger, which the BJP took objection to. So now it was the government's turn to disrupt proceedings. The trouble with Rahul continued with his disqualification last month. Opposition MPs came to Parliament wearing black. They organized protests inside and outside to take on the government. At one point, banners and papers were flung at the speaker. And today was more of the same. Congress MPs turned up wearing black and both houses were adjourned in a flash. They also organized a protest march to Vijay Chowk. All of this, just by the way, is paid for by you and me. All the blame game, the adjournments, the protests. All of it is being done with public money, your money and my money. If you look at the entire budget session, the Lok Sabha functioned for just about 45 out of 133 hours. Let me repeat that for you. We are talking about the Lok Sabha here, the better performer, functioned for just 45 out of 133 hours. That's a productivity of just 33%. The Rajya Sabha functioned for 31 out of 130 scheduled hours. That's a productivity of just 24%. These are not even passing marks. If this was an exam, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha would have flunked. These are dismal numbers for an entire session. And in Parliament, numbers and time is money. Every minute costs around 2.5 lakh rupees. By that account, the budget session may have wasted more than 70 crores of public money. And the worst part, there's no accountability. Both the government and the opposition are simply blaming each other for this impasse. Listen in.
50 लाख करोड़ का बजट केवल 12 मिनट में पास किया गया। डिस्टर्बेंस तो रूलिंग पार्टी से हुआ। हम नोटिस देते थे, नोटिस की चर्चा की मांग जब करते थे, तब वो हमको बोलने नहीं देते थे। सारे 18-19 पार्टियां एक होके एक कॉमन मुद्दा था कि अदानी को इतना महत्व क्यों दिया जा रहा है।
आज जो 19 राजनीतिक दल यहां पर हैं, हमारा मुद्दा बहुत साफ है। पूरा का पूरा संसद का सत्र भारतीय जनता पार्टी और नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार के द्वारा नहीं चलाया गया, सिर्फ एक मुद्दे पे। और मोदी जी ने साबित कर दिया कि वो इंडिया के प्रधानमंत्री नहीं है, अडानी के प्रधानमंत्री हैं। सिर्फ अडानी के मुद्दे पर पूरा सत्र मोदी जी ने चलने नहीं दिया।
कांग्रेस और उनके साथियों ने बहुत गलत तरीके से डिस्टर्ब किया, हाउस को चलने नहीं दिया, काले कपड़े पहन करके संसद का फिर से अपमान किया। कांग्रेस और उनके गिरोह मिल करके कोर्ट के ऊपर दबाव डालने के लिए सूरत कोर्ट में जा करके जिस तरीके से बातें कही है और जिस तरीके से जुलूस निकाल करके कोर्ट के परिसर में गई, ये बहुत ही निंदनीय है। मैं इसका खंडन करना चाहता हूं।
Let me go across to Amar Patnaik. He's a BJD MP from the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Patnaik, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. On one side, there is Adani. On the other side, there's an apology demand. And in the middle are the people of India wondering whether this is why we spent all that money holding an election to send MPs to Parliament who do nothing but protest, fight with each other, and no work gets done in Parliament. Mr. Patnaik, could you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, so I think you have a point there, and the people of the country have an eminent point over there in the fact that if they are sending their representatives to the parliament, they would expect that their issues are raised, issues relating to several areas, some across the country, some which are specific to various constituencies or geographical regions of the country. Now, unfortunately, because of this din, nothing could get discussed. And for a smaller party like me, Biju Janata Dal, that I represent, we have issues specific to our state. We get to raise these issues not during the normal legislative business of government because they are the bills which are probably in the central list. Whereas we get to raise these issues during the 0 hour, during the special mentions, and during question answer session. We get to ask questions about our demand from the state, from the people of Orissa, as to what has not been done, which was promised to them, as to what more resources could be given to them, which is probably their rightful due. Now, none of this could get discussed. And I feel ashamed that I actually have not been able to serve my people, serve my chief minister, serve my party because of these disruptions for no fault of mine. And I think you have a point, and this has been debated earlier as well, and this has been debated many times within the parliament, outside the parliament, that whether this is the spectacle that the people of India want to see in the temple of democracy. I don't think so. And I think when the Vice President, Honorable Chairman of Rajya Sabha, was making a statement today relating to the performance of this session, he made these points, and I agree entirely with him.
But Mr. Patnaik, who do you blame? Because it's easy to blame the opposition, in this case, the Congress party. But look at what, look at what the government has done, making every effort, almost as much effort as the opposition, not to let Parliament function. Jabki it's the job of the government to ensure that Parliament functions.
So there I have a slightly different point of view that even though it is the primary responsibility of the government to make the houses function, run the house, it is equally the responsibility of the opposition and in fact all parties to make the house run, because all of us are representing our constituencies, our people of our respective states to raise those issues in the parliament. So when it gets disrupted, for all of us are to be probably held responsible for this. I know what you were saying, that both the sides were sticking to their demands, but I think there are procedures already prescribed in Parliament as to how such discussions are to take place, even on contentious issues. On very contentious issues as well, the Parliament is the place where to discuss those issues and let the people of the country decide as to who is right and who is wrong. Unfortunately, this was not happening. If you say that the government was responsible partly, I would say in equal measure, the opposition was responsible by coming to the well of the House, by demanding a discussion on a single issue, whereas I think there are several issues in the country, and particularly, as I said, in my state, the issues are very different. I'm bothered about the devolution of funds to our state, about our pending bills in NREGS. I am worried about the railway budget that should have been discussed, because there are still 6 districts in the country, in my state, which are not served by any railway network even after 75 years of independence. We are worried about procurement of our paddy from our farmers by the government of India. Now, these are very significantly important issues. One didn't get a chance at all for the entire duration of the budget session to raise these issues, either through 0 hour or through special mentions or the question answers. They were just on-start questions, answers, which we got, but we couldn't get a chance to question back through supplementary questions to the minister concerned on the reply that he had furnished.
Mr. Patnaik, my last question to you. Any hope for the next session that parties like yours will get a chance to raise issues that are important to you? Because by the looks of it, the deadlock continues. Nothing has been sorted out.
See, I'm very optimistic. I'm an optimist. So I would probably think that during this intervening period of 3 months, a better sense would come to the bigger parties, to the national parties, to both the government and the opposition. And we would see a much better discussion during the winter session, during the monsoon session, followed by the winter session. Because I think there are much more significantly serious issues concerning economy, concerning the sovereignty of this country, concerning foreign relations, concerning inflation, concerning the employment position, concerning women, concerning SC, ST scholarships. So I hope that better sense would prevail. I would really be very, very sad if the next session also gets washed out in this manner.
Mr. Patnaik, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much.